One of our most listened to episodes in 2021, bleeding into 2022, was the story of June's Pizza. I'm happy to say that we are back with Craig of June's Pizza. Not only do we do a full mini documentary with him on YouTube, but we also do a full 1.5 hour podcast with him. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. And remember to always ask, what's good, dough? What was it like post-podcast, January of 2022 maybe?
Yeah.
Even? Where was Craig and where were you at mentally?
I was mostly like depressed, I'd say. My ambition was low. I knew I had to I will be happy when June's reopens and go, just reopening June's. That was the only thing going through my mind. But I think it's hard to stay I got this, I'm pushing forward, I got this, when you just kind of got smacked in the face that hard. And then being broke really, which I have been so many times throughout my adult life, just never making enough money. It does such a thing on your psyche, when you're going paycheck to paycheck or you're really afraid to look at your bank account. It's life just sucks. You don't need a ton of money in this world. Money doesn't buy happiness, but you do need some money, just enough to get you so you can just breathe. And I was stuck in this not being able to breathe zone, where the water was I was just trying to swim, but the water was just covering my nostrils, and I was ugh. For the longest time, from the moment June's closed until basically we reopened, I was feeling that struggle, like so many people do around here forever, and that mixed with kind of the existential crisis about who am I, where am I good enough, is the June's closed on purpose, because you fucked up, or if you do reopen, it's not going to be the same. Will it still be good? Will people like it? Was it a fluke that first time because of COVID, because of the situation? Is this thing going to work again? Did everyone move away during COVID? I'm all these things would dart through my head. But slowly but surely, I just kept chipping away. And these little wins would happen, and it make me feel oh shit, okay, this could work. I would always equate it to I was trying to climb this slick granite wall with no handholds in it, and all I needed was just some little friction point, some little handhold, just so I can get going. And eventually I got them, And I think the first one was I spent a lot of time just hoofing it around Oakland looking for spots, and I would get really close on a location. And I hired an architect who was awesome, Alex Spazier. He and I would walk around and look at spaces together. When we found this location, that was a good handhold, good grasp. Getting our first investor, that was a huge moment for me, because you get one, it's I can do more then. All I needed was just one to show me that I could get one person to invest, and I know more could happen after that. And that was, those were some big moments. I remember, the first investor, Tan and Uzzer are their names. They were buddies who invested together, and it put a chunk of change in my pocket that I haven't ever seen before. And I remember driving home from that conversation with them, and I just cried in my car. It's whew, I just had this weight lifted off of me. This is gonna work. Life is so shaky right now, but that's okay. But I think it takes a little tenacity and just perseverance, and eventually you see that lighthouse beacon, and then you see more, and then you see the city lights come up, and then all of a sudden you're going to New York Harbor, baby. We're home. So, just recounting this makes me feel pretty proud. We talk a lot about pull yourself up by your bootstraps. That conversation isn't for everybody, and that's fine. Not everyone has bootstraps, and that's unfortunate. And not everyone. I think I've said this before. I've heard a quote from a homeless person in Oakland who's being interviewed by some magazine. He's like, bootstraps? It's like, I don't even have feet, let alone bootstraps. You know, I don't pull myself up by my bootstraps. Fuck you. Not everyone has the same opportunities, but I feel so blessed that I do have these opportunities, but it did require some bootstrap pulling. Happy that I have bootstraps. And I think this past 3 years is me really pulling myself up by them. You know, I'm rambling. You should edit this up. But like, there's this moment that hit me really hard. June's had closed. My truck got stolen with a lot of very important things in it, like just tools I needed to make a living. I was working construction at the time. All my tools got stolen, and my relationship was tanking. Money was a big part of that, not having it. It's hard on a relationship when someone doesn't have any money and another person does. And I just had this feeling, I'm like, I don't like my life. Not like I'm gonna kill myself, but like, I don't like where I'm at right now. I'm 35, I'm broke, I'm an alcoholic. I had this business that was cool, but it's gone now, and I can't rest on that anymore. It's gone. Look around, you got nothing. I don't like my life. So then this thing hit me. I was like, well, then change it, dude. It's time to change it. And you can, but it requires being uncomfortable, saying yes to things that you just say no to. Just trying on a different hat for a change, understanding that you don't know what's up. Like, my decision making so far hasn't gotten me far. I'm wrong. Start being open to new ideas. And that's truly the thing that got me here today. You know, and you know, you met Brandon and Will the other day. Something I could never do prior was really let go, let other people's skills shine, let someone else help you manage this. And I've really been, I think, doing a better job at like relinquishing control. I've talked about this before, like not keeping such a tight death grip on everything. That's an unnatural thing for me. And it required saying like, okay, the old Craig was wrong. What would the old Craig do? Keep a death grip on everything, be really OCD and control freak about everything. But now I'm like, let go and see what happens. I bet you'll have a stronger business as a result. And it's proven true. So yeah, all that came from that moment of like, shit's not going well, don't like my life. Start trying on something a little wrong. Do something a little uncomfortable. And like, because it's like an act of desperation, but that's just what had to happen, you know, and it worked. So that's the best way I could describe my mental state during that interim period between June's 1 closing and June's 2 opening, you know. A lot of shit, I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize, because for starters, I can relate.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna bore everyone because this isn't about me, but I too have felt that way multiple times in my life. And I think that's why I'm here today doing this with you on a Tuesday afternoon.
Yep.
Because I've also made this leap of faith. I've made this change that I had to get out of the state that I was in that I did not like.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I essentially jumped off a cliff hoping that I would land on my feet.
Yeah.
And I'm still sort of free falling right now. Because you never really know if you're gonna land.
Yeah. But it's beautiful though, because that's you like taking your ego and putting it here. Like, have you ever like heard people use the term like ego death before?
Tell me about that. If you.
Yeah, the best way I've heard it was a mother speaking about having a child and the ego death that goes along with that, because this world where it's all about you, and you're the protagonist in your own story, and that's just it. Like, I don't have kids, but I feel like you do have to take that and put it over here when you have some kids. So
Right.
your ego does have to get flushed down the toilet a little bit. But when that happens, you get, I think, a real life gets born. You know, like it sounds like what you and I are talking about is an ego death, like letting these preconceived notions about what you think life has to be, putting those away because it's not working, trying something new and scary. Because you gotta do something different, you know?
Yeah. Are you running a pizzeria in this day and age? If so, your cheese costs are probably killing your margins. As someone who's talked to hundreds of pizzeria operators, I've seen this story play out many times. Here's what most pizzerias don't realize. Baccio isn't just selling you cheese, they're actually paying you to use premium cheese through their rewards program. Think about that. Better quality and cash back on every order. That's why I'm seeing more and more pizzerias switch to Baccio. They're getting the perfect cheese pull while actually improving their bottom line. Don't just take my word for it. Schedule a demo today and let them know What's Good Dough sent you. See how quality and profitability can actually go hand in hand. Different for you was making a lot of connections, talking to investors, getting shut down. Mm-hmm. But along the way, you found people who made the journey a little bit more bearable.
Yeah.
You talked a lot about Brandon and Will, and I don't think in the YouTube video that we shot the other day, I didn't get it to talk about your relationship with them. And I'm sure they played an integral role in your story.
Yeah, totally.
Can you just fill us in on who those two people are?
Yeah.
And what they bring to the picture?
Totally, yeah. I'm proud to. You know, Brandon, I knew since like 2012, 2013. I was sleeping on the floor of an old college roommate from culinary school. That guy was working at a restaurant called Quince at the time. Brandon also worked at Quince. I met him through my old college roommate. We just stayed loosely in touch throughout the years. Really with our careers mirroring each other in certain ways, you know, just like at that time, you know, it was hard to be a line cook and the jobs are competitive. And if you didn't want to take the abuse, there's a line out the door of people willing to take your job. And Brandon and I experienced that. These days, there's been a bit of a culture shift. You know, I think restaurant owners are being held accountable a lot more to pay living wages, not forcing free labor, not abusing their staff like physically and emotionally like they used to be the industry norm. All great changes. It's nice though to be with Brandon just because we can nod at each other every now and then quietly about we know what it used to be like, you know, and we're always in agreement on we don't want to do that, act like that ourselves. But we share such a similar perspective because we both came up at the same time. We both moved to the Bay Area at the same time, seeking a similar dream. And I just, in so many ways, I just connect with him spiritually in that way. And then Will, our sous chef, came along with Brandon. They worked together previously. He showed up with his own pizza peel in his hand on day one, like, "Hey, chef, I'm ready to work," you know. And I was like, "Who's this guy?" He's so detail oriented and zeroes in on the minutia so hard, especially with our dough and the operation of pizza making. It frees up a lot of bandwidth for me and Brandon to run the whole restaurant and a lot of people management. But Will, he is in such an acute way, just zeroed in on our dough and improved it by a lot. Made it easier to work with. I would argue better texturally as well. So between the three of us, man, I feel like we're a really powerful team. And the smartest thing I can do as a business owner is get out of their way. Let them shine. You know, that's a lesson. I'd give myself like a C+ right now. I'm like working on that A, but we're getting there.
You're passing.
Yeah. Yeah. But very grateful to have them along with the rest of the team. It's a lot. It could be for all the problems we do have, we avoid a lot of problems right off the bat. We're doing really well. I love coming in here working with these personalities, you know. But, yeah.
Was it hard to recruit a bunch of staff for this pizzeria? And more so, like, I'm just trying to put myself in your shoes, thinking, okay, I have the space, it's being built, I have my investors, this shit's gonna happen. Like, do I just call up everyone who worked at the original and see if they're still free?
I did with some people. I didn't with most of them because I stayed in touch with most of them, and I know that they're not free. A lot of them are doing their own business ventures, and are like one opened up Sfizio Pasta, one's in Portugal, one's in LA. You know, like they're just spread out, and that's the way. That's awesome. So no, definitely there was I wanted like a new feeling. I know starting with Brandon and then Will would bring that new feeling, and we just started from scratch from there. So it's not hard to find people. It is hard to find the right people. Anytime I search, I get a billion applicants. That's awesome. But for various reasons, not everyone's a fit. So one thing we learned quickly is like, okay, if you have a hotshot resume, that's great, but not required. And often what that brings is like an ego, unwillingness to learn our way. It's like, this is a brand, we're not doing things like other restaurants do. So if you come in here like, well, I do it this way, it's like, well, that's not what we're doing here. I need you to just be quiet and listen to us. Like, please, I'm trying to teach you something. Or I'm not saying it's the best way, but it is our way. So we quickly learned that a good resume isn't required, but a good personality is key. If you should come in with a good attitude, we like being next to you, you work well with the team, and you show up on time, like, we can train anything after that. So everyone who works here now fits that bill. They all they passed the vibe check. And that's it. It's just, we're always checking for vibes.
That was well said, because your pizzeria is a freaking vibe.
Oh, thanks.
And it not just starts with and ends with the decor or the pizza, but the people behind it. I'm very impressed, having sat through a little bit of the opening service on Sunday and just seeing a line of folks almost like they've seen war before. And they're just like staring down each customer, not in an intimidating way, not in a scared way, but more like, I'm ready for this, and I'm just doing me. And I think that was like the look in their eyes. I wish I was the proud dad that made people feel like they were ready for that. And I think you probably have a lot to do with that.
Some to do with it, you know. But again, sharing all that management responsibility with our managers, and then they feed off each other as well. Like, it's on every employee here to set an example for the person next to them, if that makes sense. You know, and the tips here are fat, and they get pooled so that it's based on hours worked in a week, nothing else. Everyone's got to be pulling their weight to like measure up to that tip pool. So the AM crew, the dishwashers, and everyone on that line that you saw who's not a manager, all share this tip pool. So it's on them. You know, if you feel like someone's not pulling their weight, like, don't be a jerk, but like, get them there. You know, gently like get them there on your level, because this person's here. You're here to make each other's lives easier. And I think there's an understanding of that seems to like permeate this place, which is cool. Yeah. And it happened, I want to say it happened organically, but also like, we were hiring for vibes. The tip pool is a big thing. The open kitchen is a big thing. Like, what you see is what you get. It's just that line. There's no hidden rooms of people working in the back. It's just, this is it. There's no servers here doing a different type of job, you know, with time to mess around and not work. Everyone's busting ass.
Yeah.
So everyone deserves every penny that they get. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's great because you have to bust ass when you're, and I don't know if the data, obviously, but if I'm just to speak in like a grand way about you all, you are like deeply awaited to reopen. And like when people walk through that door, they have this preconceived notion, whether they tried your pizza or not. They're like, I'm gonna come here because this place is hot. And I want the pizza to be bomb. I want it to live up to my expectation. And I feel like your crew, all of them, from the line staff to the management, they're ready.
Yeah, that expectation sometimes brings a lot of pressure. One being hot, quote unquote. I will cop to we are hot right now. That's great. I have feelings about being hot, and kind of the vapidness of that. But yeah, the crew being ready for that is a separate thing, because we are ready. You know, and we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to meet that expectation. You know, and it's an honor and a privilege to be thought of that way.
Yeah.
So that's why like we can't put out shitty pizzas. We try and like, yeah, we have a big staff because we want this operation to fly. We don't want people waiting for too long. Sometimes they do, and it breaks our hearts every time. You know, but we're like always trying to like really rise to the occasion. Because yeah, you feel that pressure. I feel like, do you know this show? It's called I Think You Should Leave with Tim Robinson. It's a sketch comedy show. It's like 3 seasons in. It got like pretty crazy popular. He like won award. I don't know. He won some stuff. But apparently they're about to come out with a 4th season, and I'm like, man, that must be crazy pressure.
Right.
Because you just did that first thing that you spent the last 20 years thinking about in your head. It rocked, and now what you have to keep delivering on that. And if you don't deliver exactly the way people expect you to, you're gonna get all kinds of shit talked about you. And people are like, oh, they changed, oh, they sold out, oh, they used to be good, but then they got whatever. And it's like, man. So I felt some of that, and I still do, like hoping that we can rise to the expectations, but you know. But then, you know, I think the true creatives are like, you know, fuck that. It's like, it's just I'm trying to express where I'm at right now, and that's what this is, you know, and so.
Did you watch The Bear?
I've seen some episodes. I'm aware of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Sort of how I feel about the last season.
Yeah.
There was a lot of, at least for me, built-up anticipation. I just felt like I was a little led on.
Yeah. How could they not? How could they ever meet your expectation?
They can't.
Yeah, because you loved it so much before, you know?
Yeah. It's not really fair. Yeah, it's a shitty thing, I'd imagine. To have to try to, do you find yourself defending yourself at all?
The only times I feel on the defense is about my place in West Oakland. I think being a non-native to West Oakland, sometimes I catch myself having to defend myself, even before anyone said anything. But like, I belong here, or like, I'm doing good things for the neighborhood, or like, I'm not part of the gentrifying force around here. But it's like, you know, maybe I am by some people's definition, but that's the one thing I do feel on the defense about, which might just be in my head, but maybe not. But your question is about feeling defensive about
People's expectations on the pizza.
Yeah.
Like, the guy in front of me who was ordering was asking a million questions. Why is it only one size?
Yeah.
Why do you only have 2 items? What the fuck is Batarga? You know?
Yeah.
And why do you put fish on pizza?
Yeah. To that, I would say just like, sorry, like this is my expression of a business, you know? It's exactly how we planned it to be.
Now, that was only one customer of the 20 people that I saw within the 20 minutes.
Yeah, it happens like often though.
Everyone else is coming in here and they're just like, let me order and then let me turn my attention, and I see Craig of June's Pizza doing that sexy cheese shave over my pie.
Oh, yeah.
And let me get my phone out.
Yeah.
What's that like?
It's nice. I'm glad that people want to like film that, you know, and like share it with their friends. You know, as annoying as social media is, it's like it is kind of a gift that people want to spread your word around for you on their own. That's the most like powerful marketing thing. Every time I see someone pull a phone out to like snap a picture or something, I'm like, cool. That's just marketing happening for me. And it's wonderful. It's super flattering, really humbling. Yeah, for all the, you know, sometimes I do get a little alienated by certain members of the public.
Meaning?
Just like some woman came in screaming at me because there was a car parked in the bike lane in front of our business. How the F could you do this? Like, what's effing wrong with you? Like, did you have any effing respect for what this town and da, da, da. I'm like, this isn't my problem. Like maybe the car is, but like your attitude is not my problem. Like you're being really aggressive. So things like that happen every day that makes you feel bummed. But for every one of those, you get 100 people like so stoked that they want to film you working. That's cool. That's a nice.
Does it ever become too much?
Yeah, you know, you and I poked on this the other day. There is a thing. I sound like such a douche talking like this. I'm new to this world where more people know my name than I know theirs. So when people come in like, "Hey, Craig, great to see you," and I'm like, I don't know you like that. I don't know you on a hug level, but you just gave me a hug. And it's like energy that I have to expend, you know, and I get put in this zone of like, I have to try and place where we met. It could have been at the first Junes 4 years ago. And I have to remember something about that. And then I feel bad for not knowing you. So these are like weird little things that I'm learning, like challenged throughout the day that I didn't expect, you know, and so I'm just like learning to deal with that in like a gracious manner. Because what I hope is like if things keep going well, that'll keep happening more and more. That's what we want. That's the result we want. But I have to learn how to manage it gracefully. And right, sometimes I fall short of that.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll kind of cold shoulder someone who's just trying to be nice. But yeah.
You're human and you're learning.
Yeah.
You know, that is, there's so many like cliche quotes about Michael Jordan trying to perform at every game, even if he's sick, because there's a kid out there who's gonna watch the basketball game for the first and only time, and that's the Michael Jordan that they're gonna remember.
Right.
But also, that's Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And not saying you're not Michael Jordan or you can't be, but he's also saying that in an interview where he's had many, many years of being Michael.
Yeah.
And to see like a rising star in a way, in a local rising star. If I can downplay it just a little bit for you, because I saw there was a little bit of discomfort there.
Yeah.
I think give yourself some grace, but I think you're approaching it the right way, that it's not going to stop if June's continues to pump the way it does.
Yeah. I think the key is like I want the business to be on the forefront of famousness, and like I'm just like a part of this machine, you know. And one thing I remember, Wolfgang Puck was noted for being really good about pulling all his staff and his chefs into the limelight, because creating this idea that it's bigger than just Wolfgang Puck, even though he's the celebrity he is. He took it on himself to make it his job to make his sous chefs recognizable, you know, and I thought that was a really smart business move. Because it empowers them, and also it just makes the business more durable. You know, if everything's living and dying by just this one person who's very fallible, oftentimes not fully engaged in the day-to-day operation, it's too much. You know, it seems like uneven or like, out of harmony.
It is, and if I take you out, then the business falls.
Right. Yeah.
Or if you get taken out, not me personally, but you know what I mean, right?
Right. And if someone comes in here like, oh, I went in, but I didn't see that chef I was looking for, so the pizza wasn't as good probably. It's like, it's better when I'm not here, actually.
Sure.
You know, like it's better when Brandon's down there just doing his thing.
Like that's the real.
Yeah.
Right? But no, I can see that.
Yeah. And
Like,
I think that's what happens with a lot of like celebrity chef-led restaurants. That's why it's not something I ever want to be. Because I don't want people expecting that. Because it's false. That'd be false, you know. And that's not the role of a chef or a business owner, to be like in front of the oven touching every single pizza. It's like a good chef is one who trains all these people, or trains people to train people, you know? So that's where I want to be. It seems like a more sustainable life.
We're on the mezzanine right now. Do you like ever see yourself just chilling here during service while everyone kind of does their thing?
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit, listening to the cacophony that's from the dining room, just feeling like the energy of that place. It's nice to like be able to step outside of it and just listen to that hum of guests just chattering, and pizza peels hitting the oven deck, and calls being yelled back and forth, and it's kind of like, whoa.
I bet it's beautiful.
Yeah, just this, like you created this shit, you know, and there's ecosystems within it that form themselves too, like just because you built the house for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I was working carpentry, it was really cool. Like I would help on some rad projects where we'd be doing some big outdoor installation furniture piece, right? And we'd go install it, and then come back like a month later to go do some tweak on it or something, and I'd notice like, oh, like there's a spider web in the corner of this drawer, or like this beetle like made a home in it over here. It's like cool to watch the nature start to take it in and like interact with it itself, and it becomes something else. Then it's not this brand new thing you just made. It's like this piece that is now here, and the environment is now learning to absorb it. Yeah, the environment is taking Junes in, and people are interacting with it how they will. You know, I just created the four walls and like put the systems in place. And it's like watching what happens from there is kind of magical. You know, like listening to a full dining room of people talking and laughing, kids crying, and stuff like that. Like
Special.
It's cool, you know.
What is your hope for your team? Do you see a team that runs this place without you and even pokes and prods you to allow them to open up a second June's?
I don't know about location expansion, but the first part of that question, yes, because I really want my job to be continuing to push the boundaries of menu development and how do we interact with these. It's so important to us that work with these local farms, and we're learning how to interact with them in a more intimate way. Finding more and more farms, more butchers, pigs sourced from over here, stuff like that. I want my job to be more working on June's, not in it as much, but just building this company into something more and more special. So that the people running the operations, their playground just got even radder. You know, like, oh, Craig just installed a new slide over here. Or like, hey, did you just like laid down
slide from down here to down there?
That was a playground analogy, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah. I want that to be my job, is making this playground that these people get paid to work in even just sweeter and sweeter and sweeter. Like, not being bound to the day-to-day operation. Because the possibilities of expansion are limitless. And it's not about opening another June's just for dollar signs. It's like, what other rad shit can you do? You know, I'm really into like this idea of video production, or this is way down the line, but you know, I want to get pepperoni on the menu, and the only way I'm really comfortable doing that is if we make our own. But pepperoni is a big thing, and like, if we were to do it at the scale that June's would require, like we really would have to build like a full pepperoni factory. So like we're starting to do the little napkin sketches on what that might look like, you know.
June's Pep.
I don't even want to expand on that idea here because it's still, I don't want the Reddit shit, and I don't want the emails, but like those are the things I need to be working on, like just growing.
Yeah.
Not for the sake of growth, for the sake of radness. There's a difference there. It's not like growing, so this will make us more money. It's like, no, I want to die knowing that like I did all these cool creative projects in my life. Some of them made some money, some of them didn't, but they were all like from the heart, you know?
You really light up
Yeah.
with that.
Thanks, dude.
Where does that come from?
What, lighting up?
No, like, yeah, like, how did you get to a point in life where you chased rad shit over dollars?
I think my dad's a really romantic guy. My mom was always really conservative minded, not in politics, but in just her approach to life. She always sought safety and security, whereas my dad, which is a beautiful virtue in its own right, but my dad was always like threw caution to the wind. He just wanted to like do creative stuff, you know, like without ever taking any formal architecture classes or anything. He just like drew the blueprints for the house that we grew up in and built it himself.
Nice.
Like with his hands, you know,
Nice.
didn't like hire people. He did it. And just because he had an idea, he's like 32 at the time. And I'm like, that's such a hard thing for me to measure up to creatively.
Yeah.
And it was nice. He did a great job. I look at those blueprints and I'm like, Dad, like what? Where did this? Did you get struck by some demon spirit and like did this in the middle of the night? He's like, I don't know. I just thought I could do it. Like, that's so sick, dude. Like not afraid of the work, and just did it because he just thought life would be richer if he did that. Right? There's a much easier way to have a house. He could often be faulted for doing everything the hardest ways. You know, family vacations, quote unquote, always involved incredible amounts of like work and like adventure, but also like just like hardship and like strife, you know, but that's what my dad designed it that way. Like, because he was like lusting after just trying to achieve radness, you know. I'm saying this after, just off the cuff, I'm in like a fight with my dad right now. It's so petty when I say it like that, but you know, right now we're at odds and it really breaks my heart because so much of like what I'm so proud about in myself comes directly from him, you know. So I got to figure out how to solve that. But growing up is hard, you know, with parents and stuff, you know. But yeah, so to answer your question, that lighting up about new fun ideas and doing things from the heart, I think that's just how I grew up.
I'm sorry that you're quarreling with your dad.
Yeah.
I hope it gets fixed.
Yeah. It's like, how are you with your parents? Not to pry too much.
No,
but
it's okay. My mom gives me too much love. And
Yeah.
I'm so much of a dick about it.
You're right. Why are we such dicks to our moms?
She gives you too much love. And I'm like the asshole son that doesn't want it.
Uh-huh.
My dad and I have gotten really close over the years, but it wasn't always like that, but it has a lot. I get a lot of my conservative traits from him, financial conservativeness,
Yeah.
frugality,
Yeah.
and so I'm trying to be less like that
Okay.
because I want to be more risk-taking.
Uh-huh.
They're both easygoing. I like to think that I'm like that too.
I would say you are very easygoing.
What do you take from your mom? You said she's very conservative. Do you see yourself conservative in some aspects of life?
If anything, I like the reaction from her is a strength, and like she's like too safe in my mind, and I think she misses out on stuff as a result. And I always saw that as a cautionary tale, to like don't sit by and just like wait for something to happen, or don't be scared of making changes in your life, because that's where growth happens, you know. Many good things came from my mom: patience and like perseverance, you know, and not complaining, she's like this like daughter of Norwegian immigrants, really just grew up with strong people in her life, and she's very strong as well. And you know, she, as you know, like she had a stroke when I was 18, so a while back, and man, it like took her life away in a lot of ways, and she still continues to feel the effects of that in really major ways. And I've never heard her complain once, or you know, she's admitted to like having moments privately where she cries about it and wrestles with it, but she's never seen it like, fuck this, like life's so unfair. I've never heard her say that once, you know, and she can't walk anymore. Like, and her vision is impaired, and her cognitive abilities have also been compromised in certain ways. And I'm surrounded by people always pointing fingers outwards about what someone did to them, what's wrong with the town they live in, what's wrong with the society they live in, why their neighbor was a jerk to them. And I'm like, fuck that noise. Like, in a lot of ways, my mom has lived a more challenging life than anyone I know, and I've heard her complain the least out of anyone. So I hope I never lose that perspective. It's like amazing when I really think about it, you know? And on top of that, still being so kind and sweet and just loving, you know, not just to me, but to like anyone who enters her life. She's just like craving companionship and friendship, and then when she gets it, she's just such a good person to be next to. So yeah, to go through all that and not just be some bitter old alcoholic, like, it's amazing. That's a strong lady.
Yeah, it's I see a lot of similarities in our moms.
I'd say the biggest challenge in my life is that, like, is my family in a lot of ways, aging parents, you know, like I talked about on the As Told By podcast, it's about that. It's about not snapping on a customer because they're being rude, because really, I just need your money, man. Like, because I'm doing this for more mature reasons than just my ego, or just to be like, look at this artist that I am. It's like, no, I need a durable business that can sustain me and everyone who works here, and help my mom, you know? So talk about that ego death. It's like not about me anymore. It's like, and I think that's what I assume a lot of parents go through if they're good parents. Like, it's not about me anymore. I can't go be an alcoholic. I can't smoke cigarettes or something. I can't flash on someone in traffic and cut them off and give them a brake check or something. No, I got a kid. I gotta live a little more maturely than that. Like, so that's how I'm feeling.
I think in my mind earlier, sometimes I think it's you either have to do rad shit or you have to make money. But that's not necessarily the case after hearing what you said, because building a solid business may be, or is, doing rad shit that's risky and like focusing on doing what's cool.
It's like we're trying to be creatives in the world, and the more creative and cool and attractive and appealing we can be, the more people are going to come in because they want to be part of it, or patronize it, or patronize you, or watch your videos, you know, more sponsors you'll get. So it's, yeah, despite all the hard, serious, mature things in life, it's like you still got to be a kid too. And it's not you got to be, you want it, it's so fun to be. So that's the pleasure of our jobs, is like it's creative and childlike, and so you got to carve out time for that, for radness. It's part of the business plan, is being dope, you know, and like, that's why I was talking about, I would like to get out of the operation a little more so I can focus my sights on cool, fun, creative projects in the name of June's Pizza for the business, because it'll keep shoring it up and keep making it relevant and a fun place to be and eat at, and compelling and relevant, I said, but yeah. That's the balance, man. Deal with life's hardships, but don't lose your innocence and the fun, you know?
It's too easy.
Yeah.
It's too easy to forget the fun.
Yeah.
You know? I'm still trying to find my voice as someone who's creative, someone who's recording content. I go back and forth. about that seriousness, about the playfulness, about not cussing and about cussing.
You're serious? That was like, wait, is cussing a thing in your world? Are you talking about in what way? As a father or on camera, or what are you saying?
Like, just the way I interact day to day. I'm worried that if I say the right F word in the wrong place, I lose a person, which I have in the past. And maybe that person wasn't for me, but you know, at times, like, I just don't want to turn anyone off.
Not that you're soliciting advice, or even if I'm in a position to give advice, but the way it's described to me is like there's this bell curve of consumers of your product, right? And you have your early adopters down here who are just like Idrift fans. They are your walking billboards. They are just down for whatever you're gonna do. Then you have like the masses, right? The general public is in like this section of the bell curve. And then you have like the people who might never ever talk to you, or they're really late to the party and they don't care that much. Focus all your efforts on this part of the bell curve, here to here. They are your market, and you really only you don't need as big of a number as you think you do. And it's all about them. And in time, the masses will catch on, but it's all about them. They're gonna do all your advertising for you. They're not so fragile that they're going to be deterred and shut you off if you say the F word. That's where I'm at right now too with June's. I'm just caring about these core people who like really care about artisanal pizza, want a great experience, are seeking out the best food they can. The value here in that part of the bell curve, that's Domino's. You know, they're trying to be there for everyone. Who's like, what podcaster is in the middle? I think podcasters are so subversive across the board. It's hard to say, but like who's doing media right now that's like clearly for the masses? Like definitely not swearing because it'll alienate their base, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. If it comes to you, let me know.
Sure, it probably won't. But
yeah.
no, I
Probably
would,
won't.
I would say podcasters draw community within a certain subsection or just like a specific group in the world. You can't be for everyone.
Yeah.
And so to focus on that base is key.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just me thinking that, I don't know, someone who sees value in that and wanting to be in that would get turned off with me saying the wrong word. And maybe they just weren't a part of that to begin with.
Yeah, they were never going to tell their friends to listen to you anyways. They're not sitting there getting inspired by you anyways. You know? It's the other people are, though. It's a smaller group, but that's who you're talking to all the time. Right? It's a pizza podcast. It's pretty niche. But the people who are into it are friggin' into it. And that's who you're talking to. I tell myself this with June's too. A lot of people come in like, hey, can I get a large pepperoni and a small Hawaiian to go? And I'm like, I get it. I'm not going to be a jerk to you, but we do our best to educate them. Hey, we're a different kind of thing. You know, we have 2 pies and margarita and the special. Every now and then they're like into it and we'll order, but I could tell most of the people like glaze over the second I start talking, stop listening to me, and they go, so you don't have pepperoni? I'm like, no. And they go, just turn around and walk out without even saying goodbye. And I'm like, okay, like that was not our person, and that's fine. I have to be okay with that. It's like it's our brand to be okay with that. You know?
When a person is your person, they walk through that door. What do? Do you just be yourself? Do you take extra little steps? What is the approach?
Yeah, definitely just be ourselves, because that's why they're here, because they like what we're putting out. And they, without any questions, like, hey, what do you have? They look at the menu, like, yeah, margarita and a special. Take a beer and a glass of wine, and like, they have a wonderful time, and they leave. That's all I'm after, you know? They came in already knowing what the program was, either because they've been there before, or their friend told them about it, and like, that's who we're talking to right now. apparently I see the trends with businesses going. You do that for a while, and then eventually you start speaking to the masses. Maybe we'll get there. But right now, it's just this little petri dish of like stoking out the people who come in wanting to be stoked out. So,
If you never get to the masses, do you think that's enough to build a business on, just that core?
yeah,
100%.
yes. I think that's something that food businesses especially lose sight of. I'm like, what happened to just being there for your community? What is this Instagram like crap? You know, it's like, oh, if I had more likes, I'd be busier. It's like, no, those are people in like Philadelphia and Japan and like everywhere. I'm like, but I want to be a business that's good for my neighborhood. Right now, I think we are, right? Pizza, the price point, it's higher than other pizzerias, but it's still like you can walk out of here with a wonderful meal and drinks for $26 a head. And that means you got a full big 18-inch pizza and a bottle of wine, you know, like for 2 people. To me, that's good value. And and all the while we're using these like local farms. The price point is higher, but the quality is better, you know, and so yeah, that's who we're targeting.
I remembered what I was talking about, and like this like large June's following that loves what you put out on Instagram. Maybe they care about the curation, maybe they don't. Maybe they've heard of you, maybe they haven't, and they just maybe they're your customer, maybe they're not. How do you navigate something like that, and where do you put your energy? Because you still have I don't know if you still have to go get customers, if that's even like a thing that you think about, or you sort of just like let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah.
But you still have thousands and thousands of followers on Instagram. What do you do with that?
Dude, it's like, I said it before, it's like this anti-marketing campaign. You know, the marketing, everything is marketing. So the marketing, first of all, is in the quality of the pizza, the consistency, the timing, just the quality of this business. That's the marketing. Are you dope? Are you crushing it? Or are you not? Like, no one ever sat there being amazing, like truly, not just amazing in their head, but really amazing for the community they're in and wasn't busy, Like, food is a meritocracy. And sometimes it is location dependent. That is true.
Do you truly believe that?
What I really believe is there's no bad locations, only bad operators. Or bad is the rough word, maybe like operators that weren't a right fit for the location, potentially. But I got told left and right that, like, don't open in West Oakland. It's not gonna work. The place is riddled with crime. It's not, because all they're looking at is like the news. Like, you haven't spent any time here. You don't see what I see. This place is rife with opportunity, wonderful creative people, awesome neighbors, and just a need for good food. And it's the first exit off the Bay Bridge. It's insane. Like, this place is awesome. And to me, all I saw when people were like, oh, you're really sure it's a bad location, man? Like, you just seem short-sighted to me. Back to that Instagram question, how do we market? It's just the business is the marketing tool. Instagram is just this thing that you can click on if you want to learn a little more about us. And then that gets traded around, passed around. People with their cameras tag us. It keeps going. So it's a wonderful, like, word spreads faster on social media, which is cool, but it's all because we're working really hard in these 4 walls. There's no substitute for that. Everyone's looking for a hack in marketing. Oh, if I just did this campaign, or we promoted this post, or we start doing this hashtag, or it's like, dude, there's no substitute for just like badass hard work and and good taste. Yeah, I really like to windsurf, and everyone's like, when you're on land around all your other windsurfer friends, everyone's talking about like, hey, what do I do? Like, how can I do this trick more effectively? Or how can I execute this maneuver better? And everyone's like YouTubing and put your back foot here and 1, 2, 3. It's like, dude, there's just no substitute for time on the water. Get out there. How do you do that better? Get out. Stop talking to me and get out there. Like Brandon, our CDC, he's a tremendous jiu-jitsu athlete, and he'd say the same thing, I'm sure. It's just like, how do I get better at this jiu-jitsu maneuver? It's like, dude, just time on the mat. There's no substitute for it. And he brings it, you know, like he walks that walk. And same thing with cooking. Like, he's not into hypiness or anything. That's why I connect with him really well, because it's just about like time in this kitchen, thinking hard, like really ruminating over the pizza, and then backing it up with an extreme amount of hard work. You know, it's like, that's why we're busy.
I hear this word hard work a lot.
Yeah.
Can you define that for the listeners?
Oh, man.
And can I give you a little bit more context before you answer?
Yeah.
Only because I've spoken to one operator, and I want to just yell at him and say, get off the phone with me as well.
Oh, yeah.
And I almost want to yell at him and say, have you looked within and seen where the product may have missed? Or are you really putting your best foot forward with how the business is run?
Yeah.
But I can't give the tactical. I don't know what to say when I say work harder, because I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I don't know what they've done. I don't know what they're doing wrong.
Yeah. I wish I had some simple answer, like, get out of bed earlier, you know, but it's not that, because one can work smarter and not more out and not. Like, being busy and working hard is two different things. You don't just busy yourself. But yeah, you mentioned looking inward. Like, if that person was having trouble, I'd really look inward and figure out, like, how do people feel when they come into your restaurant? Like, you know, how do they feel when they eat your food? Is it as nourishing as you want it to be? Is it as delicious? Like, that's a bottom line thing. Is it delicious? And if it's not, like how can you get there? You know, and that's where the hard work comes in, because right, that's delicious is a definitive bar you have to jump over, whatever it might take to get there. And sometimes it's inconvenient. Really have to bust ass to jump over that delicious bar. It's like right now we're prepping a Hawaiian pizza, and the idea was we want to roast a pig every single day. And break it down, get onto a pizza with pineapple, and just make it delicious and send it out. But we found that our first attempts were not delicious. We roasted a whole pig to test, put it on a pizza, and we're like, it's like the seasoning was a little lacking, like that pulled pork kind of vibe with a roasted pork. It's delicious on its own or on a plate. Didn't really translate to a pizza that well. Didn't come to us easily at first. So now we're at month 1.5 of workshopping this, and we're still not ready to get on until like mid-February. And like, more workshopping has to be done. We have to figure out, like, how can we make this delicious? How do we put it on our assembly line and not slow down, like make this thing take half an hour to make? How do we not make it cost $65? You know, like, there's a lot of hurdles to jump over to make this whole thing happen, because it didn't just come to us. That's the hard work.
That is hard work, and it's even harder because some people don't, quote unquote, have the bootstraps. A trusted group of people working around them to be able to give that feedback.
Yeah.
Right? Like, not everyone listening here has a Brandon and a Will who will give you the real. They might just say, serve it.
Yeah.
But like,
you worked hard on this, I can't say no to you, you're the boss.
Yeah, but like, the real hard work is first finding the trusted people before you can even get to that feedback loop. And that's hard.
That's the thing. Again, really grateful for the people we got in here. But yeah, some quick answer on to define hard work. I guess I don't have it, but it's somewhere in there. It's somewhere between your first pig test failing and you trying and trying again so you have something incredible. It's somewhere between those two things.
Yeah.
Is the hard work, you know?
Do you think people should strive to define incredible on their own if they don't have a Brandon and a Will?
Yeah, man, every day, right? You do, I do. Like, we always do in our personal lives. I think a great business is when it's a synergy of a lot of people doing that all at once, you know? Like no one's phoning it in here. Like that's part of the job is like really caring. You know, that's why we're here, because you really care.
It's like really special, this place. I've been to a lot of places, not to like show off, but it's just the nature of my work, and I'm so fucking grateful to that,
You know,
to be able to do that. And this place is just different.
thanks, man.
It's a combination of like, I always thought it was cheesy where they'd be like, this is Craig and he has 23 years of experience. This is Brandon and he has 23 years experience. Together they have 46.
Yeah.
But like really seeing that here, seeing execution,
Yeah.
it's a trip.
Execution. Yeah, thanks, man. It's we tell ourselves often we're like it's working. Like we look around because like none of us have done this before. None of us have been a head chef of a restaurant before. None of us have opened a restaurant before, except for like June's one, but that was different. You know, so the fact that like our first try is we're going this way, it's like we take it really seriously. We're really proud, and also like we can't stutter step. Like right now, we have to. Like, all right, this is working. Keep going. Like, don't let it slip. Keep trying to improve. Because yeah, it's humbling, and I'm grateful, but it doesn't just happen. You know, I think that's the folly of people questioning others' success as if it was given to them. You know, like I don't think that way about anyone. Obviously, like in Hollywood, there's a lot of nepotism and shit. That's a different story. But other restaurateurs around here who are crushing, it's like the amount of just hard work that goes into that is there's no substitute for it. They put the time in the water, you know, like it should be celebrated and learned from. So I'm still at the beginning of my journey, but I hope to graduate to those levels of like, you know, the Flower and Water group, NOPA, Liho Yacht Club group.
What are they responsible for?
NOPA?
No, the group.
Oh, these are just people, restaurateurs I really respect who build long-lasting, very successful restaurant businesses and expand in thoughtful, meaningful ways. Not just this carpet bombing of like franchise things just because.
So there is a little ambition there for that.
Sure, right? But it's got to be, I got to be able to justify it like in my soul. You know, it can't just, if I wanted to open up 400 June's locations and over the next 8 years, like we probably could. The person is out there like licking their chops waiting to partner in on that deal. But like none of that is cool to me. Like, see, like decrease quality and increase quantity. It's like lame. You know, like what else can we do that can also be of equal quality and complement this thing? That's more how I'm thinking about expanding. Because we work too hard for this. Their whole career. Like that's why like I keep talking about Brandon, but that's why he's like my soul brother in a lot of ways. Because like we just worked so hard on this shit since we were 16. Like I'm gonna be a chef, and we just paid our dues in extremely challenging ways, and we're like, this has to be great because otherwise it would disrespect everything we've done for the last 20 years, you know? Yeah, and to sell out at any point, quote unquote, or to do something in offense to that quality would just be, yeah, it would just be wrong, you know?
I don't know how that works. To create 400 Junes and still have everyone be as special. Do you know anyone that's sort of done something like that? Like, I know who Flower and Water is, but like, do you see a restaurant group that is like that? Is that even is there a case study for that?
There is. I respect, if we're just talking about local spots, like what Suvla is doing is really good, I think. I think that's a high quality product, just executed really thoughtfully. It's a really tight business model. The price point is great for the food they're serving. Like it's like really high quality stuff. It's a great lunch spot. It's a great lunch option. So I think they're on the right track. You know, like I stand in respect of what they're doing.
And they have multiple,
Yeah,
like a lot.
around the bay, not a lot. I'm gonna, don't quote me on this. It's like under 10, but somewhere around that number. Sorry, Suvla, if I'm getting that wrong.
But the jump from 10 to 100 or 100 to 4, do you think Suvla, or is there a world where Junes could make that happen to where each of those 100 or 400 spots be as special? Is there a case study for that?
It's a great question, man. You know, I watched like Danny Meyer of 11 Madison Park and Shake Shack. Like, he started Shake Shack, and I don't know anyone who can touch Danny Meyer and that restaurant group as far as like professionalism and quality, right? It's like number one best restaurant in the world. But then just look at what Shake Shack is. It's a great, maybe, I don't know, I'm learning as I'm saying this, like, maybe franchises have to be looked at as something different than the one-off restaurants. They're not supposed to be as special.
It's a little more sterile.
Yeah, it has to be, right? And like, I think if Danny Meyer, if his idea of a franchise is manifested in Shake Shack and everything that is, it's like, all right, that's gotta be like one of the best case scenarios, at least as far as the resources. Like that has all the resources to be the best thing, and it's pretty darn good. They're doing a fantastic job, right? But is it as special as like one of their one-off restaurants? Maybe not. Like, I don't know. I don't know if we're allowed to talk. I'm just curious because you've talked to Tony
Gimignani.
Yeah, and they opened up a bunch of slice houses, right? I haven't been, but I've heard nothing but good things. From your point of view, do you see any lapse in quality there? Is there a compromise that had to be made to graduate to that level, if you call it that?
I don't know how they did pizza at the original slice shop. So I want to apologize if I'm speaking out of turn here. One thing I did notice was like pizzas going on screens.
Yeah.
To simplify the workflow.
Yeah.
To train more easily.
Yeah.
And if there is that compromise from original Slice House to where it could be easily managed to the franchise model, in terms of like the look and feel of a Tony Slice shop that I go into, I definitely feel like he's imparted some of his soul in it.
Yeah. It's not your standard pizza chain, you would say.
No,
So that's cool.
it is.
Like maybe that's it. It's that trickle down. Like the best case, you get something as special as Tony's or 11 Madison Park, and they want to do a franchisable chain thing. The best you can get is like a trickle down, so it's just slightly better than the other options, or something like that. Like Shake Shack is a better option than McDonald's. I would just much rather go to Shake Shack. I think Slice House, I would go to a Slice House in any day over a Domino's, right? So like, maybe that's the answer. It's like, yeah, we did a franchise thing, but it's our thing, so it's always going to be a little bit better than the competition. Like maybe that's what he's going for. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either, but I think you're right in where that option stands for the end consumer, for sure. I don't know.
Oh, sorry?
No, please.
No, there's this chain called Flatbread. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's like the small chain. I think there's like 8 locations or something. One's close to my hometown in Connecticut. One's in Maine, I think. One's in Hawaii. Random, but they're big dining rooms, wood fire pizza, and like high school kids operate it. And it's pretty good. And I'm really amazed the fact that someone could make a chain out of a wood fire pizza operation. Like, to me, that's terrifying. But I started to think about that. Like, okay, could we like make more Junes? Would it be we'd have to turn this into a pizza school, essentially, like Junes University, and we'd have to have trainers and fly any employees that are going to work for our location in Louisiana or in Washington have to fly here first, graduate our training program, then go back and work there. Like it'd be a much bigger investment in training than I think your average chain. Which maybe that's worth it. I don't know. Maybe it pencils. I'm not sure.
We got very pie in the sky there for a second.
Yeah.
And to sort of bring us back a little bit, something I think would be a good segue is if you could talk about how you're a great communicator. I notice you're very articulate, and I think, and you use vocabulary that is appropriate, but you also have like a wide range of words that you choose from. And I think that in order to have a grand vision, whether it's pie in the sky or one restaurant that executes well, you have to be able to tell your people what the dream is.
Yeah, you're making me think of something. One, thank you. What a wonderful compliment. I just read this book called Innovators by Walter Isaacson. He was an editor for Time magazine for a long time. He helped compile in 1999, they compiled a list of like 100 most influential people of the century. Like, oh gosh, what a task to think about that. I think they landed on Einstein as the top, possibly Louis Armstrong too. There's one woman, last name Loveless, a professor at an Ivy League school. She would teach this course in mathematics. And she received all this pushback from her students because she would ask them to write an equation. They were talking about this one equation in particular that was challenging to solve. She wanted them to write like a many-page long essay on everything about that equation. Not just how to solve it, but how to solve it and then how to teach it. And they're like, this isn't an English class, Professor Lovelace, this is bullshit, I don't want to be here. And she goes, no, listen, technology is wonderful, but it can't exist in a vacuum. It's useless without the ability to communicate it. It's all communication, it's all storytelling. I think that's why I'm really obsessed with like video making and why I love doing stuff like this, because it gives people a chance to see what else we're doing here, like the behind the scenes, because that ability to storytell is ultimately part of our value proposition. You know, it's why all our fridges have glass doors, because I want them to see what we're fucking with here. Like whole wheels of Parmesan, all this fresh produce from the farmer's market. It's not just like coming in from Cisco. Big open kitchen, totally on purpose. I want you to see step by step how your pizza's being made, everything.
The frickin' receipt paper flying.
Yeah, that's this like term that we like coined called like fun analog. I don't, yes, we could have a printer from here and there and we'd put the order in and print out.
Fun analog.
Yeah, it's like everything we do, as much as we can, I'd love to be analog and visible. So we just created this other opportunity to communicate with our guests by clipping our ticket onto a zip line and sending it to that end of the line. It's one more thing to watch us do. It's one more piece of the equation you can see. Kids get really stoked. There's a theater in it, all of it, and like, you know, to me, just putting a basic printer system in would be just an opportunity wasted to tell more of a story. And so that's it. Communication is the word. Being a good communicator, I think, is part of being a good chef, a good restaurant owner. Not just with managing a crew, but to the public. Communicate. Like, show them everything. Like, if you're making fresh pasta in your restaurant, have that thing front and center in your dining room window so anyone walking by can see your pasta maker cranking out fresh pasta. Like, invest in the infrastructure for that. Like, pay $40,000 to make that happen, because it will crush. It will get people in that door. Because to hide that thing in the back and just, we just happen to be making fresh pasta, it's like they're missing so much of the story. Like, what makes you so special? It's the value proposition. And yeah, communication is a great word.
You put a lot of value in it. Do you train? Do you read? Do you practice? Or does it just flow from you?
I think moments like this are great practice. You know, every little like podcasty thing that I can get on, or like your podcast, or any interview that I can be a part of, it's just another chance to like learn how to speak better and tell a story better. You know, I like to read.
I can tell.
Thanks. Yeah, and I'd say those two things.
I think it's important.
Yeah.
And I think you do a great job. And I think it's a skill that can be applied in your everyday life, especially the restaurant.
Thanks, man. Yeah. Are you a reader? Or a listener?
I'm a listener.
Yeah.
I tried, you said same.
Same, yeah. When I say read, I do read, but a lot of audio booking. Yeah.
I tried to read, but my brain just goes everywhere. I'm not as focused, and I need to work on that skill. So maybe after today, I'll pick up another book.
Yeah, dude, it's hard to make it through a page. I don't know if you're like me, like having to reread the same page over and over again. It just, books take a long time for me personally. Just never had that skill. But audiobooks open up this whole world of like, oh shit, all these, it's like I didn't read any books in high school, not because I didn't want to know what's inside of them. You just can't make me sit in one place that long. It's too hard. But I want to know what's in between those two covers, like, so audiobooks have like just changed my life completely, you know? Yeah. What's like the last good thing you read?
The last good thing I read.
Or is there any literature on like what you're up to right now? Is there any like kings or queens of this game that like you just devour their content, or like watching YouTube videos of them interviewing, or like who are you looking to right now for inspiration?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Because I think that's where I do most of my consumption. And my wife and I have this like talk about how we don't listen to the same podcasts because she reads a ton, but she also listens to podcasts both for leisure. And if I'm reading or when I'm listening to podcasts, consuming content, it's to ingest information that I can apply.
Yeah. She's more of an entertainment listener.
She's more of she works really damn hard too.
Yeah.
I might add.
Yeah. You guys are both young parents as well.
Yes.
Also to qualify.
Oh
this.
man,
Yeah.
she's a harder working parent than I am.
Yeah.
I'll ever be.
Yeah.
And so what she does is she reads to be able to fall asleep. She listens to podcasts to get through the pain of going through physical therapy. So it's more of a relaxing moment for her. And I listen to podcasts or watch YouTube videos to try to get ahead.
Yeah.
I'm big on listening to what's happening in the tech and political landscape. So I listen to the All In podcast.
Okay.
I'm listening to podcasts and videos about how to be a better creator. And I like listening to the greats
Yep.
on just how they navigate interviews,
Yeah.
how they present themselves.
Yeah.
Some people are in vogue now, like Theo Vaughn, Joe Rogan's. Sometimes I'll turn it on for the guests, not
Depending on the
necessarily
guest.
Joe.
Yeah, same.
I will turn those on just so I can sort of, what I'm trying to focus on right now actually is trying to get more of a balanced content diet. Because I'm sort of, in those 3 podcasts, they're all very red-pilled,
Yeah.
more red-leaning, Republican,
Yeah.
and I want to have a little bit of balance in my life. I don't know,
Yeah.
sort of where I'm at.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's rad, man. Yeah, the podcasting landscape it's pretty cool. I really enjoy this long form stuff, like just listening to it. It's just a little more thoughtful, gives people a chance to really express an idea, not just in soundbite form. Like, this person said this, right? It's like this one little sentence and then people tie up everything about that person into one sentence. No, give them 2 hours to talk. See who they are, you know? It's like oftentimes a little better than you imagine.
Let them sort of get comfortable.
Yeah.
Right? Because even in the early parts of this conversation, we've known each other for 2020. We've been acquaintances, I would say, since
like
2020.
4 years.
For 4 years,
Yeah.
but still never really had a chance to go deep. So like this opportunity that we had earlier on today, it was just like, okay, getting through some formalities, catching up, and then giving ourselves the time and the opportunity to just explore different things that spark us.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I do love that about the medium.
Yeah. It's nice. Yeah, this is a cool evolution of your program. You know, before it was largely remote, right? People talking, like we spoke with the headsets in separate locations, but now you're going on site, going into restaurants, talking to folks, right? It's pretty cool.
It is. It allows me to connect with you on a much deeper level.
Yeah.
It allows me to see special places, try special food.
Who have you interviewed lately that really left you with some gem of a quote, or just something that you learned from, or something like that?
Gem of a quote?
Or even something you saw in the restaurant that was like, whoa.
Yeah. Just the most recent one even. Dane from Slowco. I would say you and him and another guy named Craig in Portland have a shared trait somewhere. I feel like you all are pizza brothers from another mother in some way. It's just like the way,
guys.
Yeah, no, it's the way you approach life. It's the way you approach pizza. I look up to you guys in that way. He actually started making pizza a little thicker, smaller, and I just started playing around with that, and it got me to think, I've always kind of liked a thicker crust. It's kind of what I grew up on.
Yeah.
Maybe because I'm a sucker for ranch and pizza and dipping something at the end, but if your crust is that good,
Yeah.
why not? Go for it.
Yeah.
So that was very moving for me.
Right on.
And they all teach me something. And I think I'm one of the luckiest people, but also that comes at a downfall because my mind's always changing, in a sense. My pizza's always changing. My views are always changing. So much inputs.
Yeah.
You know, I really have to sit down and sometimes reflect on what I want to take in and throw out as an output. Yeah. It's my struggle.
It's part of it, though. Lean into it.
Yeah? Just be the Wikipedia of pizza?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you stand to learn a lot. You have competitors out there?
In podcasting?
Yeah.
You've met Alex.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call him a competitor.
Yeah.
I would say he's doing his own thing, bringing his own experience.
Yeah.
There's a guy named Bruce. He's doing his own thing, his own experience.
Yeah. And these are just pizza podcast specific folks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who are like actively getting out there, shooting their content. Yeah. So I do listen to them on occasion.
Yeah.
But I try not to compare.
Yeah. You guys should interview each other. I love that. Like when.
I interviewed Alex when he wasn't podcasting.
Okay.
And I think we're bound to cross paths
Yeah.
in the future.
Yeah. I know he mentioned you once or twice when we were talking, and it just seemed like there's a lot of mutual respect there. And
Yeah, he's a funny guy.
yeah. And like you said, a lot of you you're tackling different parts of it. You know, each of you has your interests and your unique focuses, and it's cool. And also, the cool thing about this too is that like just the tide rises. You're literally creating a bigger landscape for everyone and for me. Like all the Dave Portnoy, like doing the pizza reviews and stuff. Rise the tide for pizzerias in general. It has nothing to do with the competition between ratings or anything. It's like it's just someone out there being excited by pizza, getting a lot of people to watch and focus on pizza. And I happen to be in the pizza business, so let's go. You know, and same thing for you. You're a pizza podcast. It's like the bigger the environment gets, the better for everyone. The more we have to take from. It's kind of like when like beavers down trees to flood entire landscapes because it makes it safer for them, right? They can swim underwater, they can avoid predators, it helps them get to their food faster, then get back to their home. Like that's the whole game, is to create their landscape, and the bigger they can flood an area, the safer. And it's like that's what we're doing here. Like the more we can just go out there and get people excited about pizza, the safer we all are, the more job security we have, basically.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet.
I think there is a lot of good that gets overlooked because of the bad of Dave Portnoy. But at the end of the day, if more people know about pizza that's not the chain, pizza that is more expensive than your average in a good way,
Yeah.
it does lift the tide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, these places are like household names, like Lucali's, John's on Bleecker, Pepe's and Sally's in New Haven. Like everyone knows about these places now, and I think it's largely because he was just like, he created this arena that people are looking at. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah. A lot of people still just hate on him. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I was thinking about this the other day. Like, how can you hate someone without fully knowing them?
Yeah.
You
Pretty
can-
easily, apparently, but yeah.
Very easily. Very easily.
That's the one thing, that's a thing that I've learned a lot about in restauranting, like being public facing in general. Just a lot of people see me every day. It's because we're a public facing business. But with that comes a lot of opinions on like what I'm up to, who I am, a lot of little snarky comments here and there, and some people get it way, way worse. But it's like you just don't know unless you know. If there's ever a situation where more people know your name than you know theirs, there's bound to be, it's rife with inaccuracies. And it's a weird sensation. I can only imagine like what it's like to be actually famous. Like no wonder Kanye is super weird. Maybe he's not actually that weird, you know? But like, it's just the conversation
Isn't that a weird
just gets
thing
taken
to
off.
say? Maybe he's not actually weird. Like,
Yeah.
because he's probably not.
Right. He's just
But we
like,
have to defend him because people who offend him have no idea what he's going through.
right. And you won't.
No.
But the part of his product is just like this, he's this personality you have opinions on.
Yeah. Justin Bieber came up on my Instagram the other day of him like dodging, and like the hook was like, this is why, no wonder Justin Bieber doesn't like pictures, and it's because he's been avoiding them for 14 years. And like it starts to zoom out on like hundreds of photographs. No wonder he's putting his hood on.
Yeah.
Like we see that, and you forget the abuse that he probably went through
Yeah.
all this time.
Yeah.
It's a trip.
Yeah. It's like, again, being public facing in small and big ways is weird. Like when that lady came in screaming at me in the middle of service about a car being parked in the bike lane, see, she had no care about what I was going through, what I was up to in that exact moment, which was a lot, you know, so busy, like my own little world, but I had to like sit there and listen to her and be like, all right, I'll get that, I'll find out whose car that is and I'll get it out of the bike lane, you know? But like, she's like, oh, restaurant, public, that's for me to go in and just do something too. It's like, that's for me, they're there to listen to me. That's their purpose for being there. And in some ways she's right, but also she's not right for coming in hot like that, you know? It's just, yeah, it's weird, man. Like, what's your inbox look like? People, like you mentioned, like you dropped an F-bomb and it created a little stir.
It was a while back.
Yeah.
I used to follow you because you're inspirational. And then I see this inappropriate word on my Instagram feed. How could you?
Yeah.
It's not what I want to see from you.
Yeah.
I can be both.
Yeah.
I can use it appropriately to shed even more of my expression on how inspirational I think something fucking is.
Yeah.
I think what I'm witnessing here is like a really inspiring growth story. I can't wait to check back in with you See how you've navigated scary customers.
Yeah.
See how you've navigated this establishment, how you've brought people up.
Yeah.
What do you want to say to the customer who's listening, who's been dying to go or is going? What do you want to say to your base?
Yeah, that section of the bell curve right here. Besides thank you, because that is what makes this whole thing go around. Gosh darn. I'm thinking a lot of things right now. You know, part of me is thinking like, this is really hard, guys, so give us some grace and give lots of restaurants around you some grace, you know, like don't try and tear us down. Yeah, I think like, gosh, man, I guess I'm just trying to spread this idea of, it's cheesy, but just that Gandhi quote of like, be the change that you want to see. Like I think June's is here to, what I hope, make this neighborhood a better place, a safer place, more economically vibrant place, a place with job opportunities, a place with great culture, great food. I hope I'm doing a good job at embracing the best parts of West Oakland and all the while making it a safer place to be. That's the goal. So if you are also upset about what's happening in your neighborhood, or the narrative isn't quite what you want it to be, or you're upset at someone for something, like pick up a broom and clean up your sidewalk, you know, or start a business in here and do something cool, do something positive. Because there's nothing special about me that made me able to open this. Like, not that anyone could, but like, you know, with the cards you were dealt, play that hand as best you can and make your neighborhood better.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
If you have feet, walk.
Yup.
If you have boots, pick yourself up by the bootstraps.
Yeah. And that comes with a healthy amount of gratitude for having those feet, because I know not everyone
100%.
does.
Yeah. Don't waste it if you have it.
Yeah. Yep.
Or
And you know, and I hope I'm walking the right path with June's right now. You know, because to be sustainable does mean you have to be good for your community, you know, and fit in well. And I hope I'm doing that. So I'm certainly trying, you know.
it's a great message.
Yeah.
It's an honor to have you back.
Yeah, man. It's always good talking to you. Like I said, these are wonderful little time capsules I'm gonna have like forever, dude. It's so fun. Like
I neglected to say it here earlier, but like holy shit, like you're here,
yeah.
right? We're here, but you're here.
Yeah.
More importantly,
Yeah.
because I could be anywhere, but like you had a vision, you had a dream, and I'm proud of you.
Man. Thanks, dude.
Not
Proud of
that,
you too.
not that should have any weight, but I just thought I'd like share with you.
Oh, it does have weight. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Last question.
That was the last question? Oh, this is the last question.
What's good, Doug?
I should have prepped for this because I knew you end this. What is good though? My life right now is pretty good though. You know, like embracing the idea that hard is not bad. Hard is good. Hard. I'm growing a lot. My community is strong. My relationships are strong. I'm healthy. These things are meaning more. I'm 35 right now. They're meaning more and more. than they did in my 20s, you know, and like, so I'm just really grateful for that, you know. Gratitude is good though, you know.
I felt that. I felt that little crack in your voice about being grateful for it.
Yeah.
I love that for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for this. Thank you for your time.
So much fun.